Thank you for listening to Mobility Redefined, brought to you by Modaxo. For more insights and information, please visit mobilityredefined.com. That is mobilityredefined.com. So good afternoon. Once again, welcome to the Mobility Redefined CEO Roundtable, the second edition taking place at UITP Global Public Transport Summit here in Hamburg. Actually, I'm very pleased to welcome everyone. I see a lot of faces that they were here yesterday, and today they are joining us to listen from our great panelists. I'm very honored to moderate the session. My name is Kaan Yildizgöz. I am host of Mobility Redefined and Executive Director at Modaxo. So I'm joined by great panelists today, this afternoon, Alexandra Reinagl, CEO of Wiener Linien. I have Jonida Halili, Deputy Mayor of Tirana, Albania. I have Maria Albuquerque, who is the Vice President of Carris, Lisbon, Portugal, and Mr. Andy Lord, Commissioner of Transport for London from UK. So what are we going to discuss this afternoon? We are mainly focusing about the latest trends, some challenges, and as well we will discuss about the innovations that are being implemented and waiting for us. We have around 45 minutes of a session. So let's start, and I think that I can start with Alexandra, who is just sitting next to me. And it's a common entry question for me because now the urbanization is increasing, there's a rising demand for mobility. How you are coping with this in Vienna and how you are planning the future with considering your freedom of mobility vision as well, Alexandra?
Thank you very much, Kaan, for the invitation and the introduction. Growth in the public transport network has more meanings to me. It means, and that's obvious, expansion. I will come to that back later. But it also means modernization, refreshing, upgrading the existing infrastructure, as we shall not forget that there is a big and well-known infrastructure in our public transport network. It also means improving the current services, and these dimensions are in the following frame. We have in Europe in general, but in Austria and Vienna in special, tightening budgets. This is one side of the frame. The other one is we have to increase or to foster the share of public transport. So there are some meanings of growth. There is the frame. And between the first name meanings, it will be now necessary to prioritize. So where should I put my money in? And not to forget that I'm working with taxpayers' money. So we have to be very transparent and meaningful. We must consider that our reliable services has made us as trusted brands. So if we violate this, we can lose not only our existing customers, but also we will not succeed in gaining new ones. And that means talking about new technologies, for example, or pilot projects, because we hear a lot of autonomous driving here, or artificial intelligence. I'm a little bit, I would say, reserved towards all these technologies and pilot projects, as I can't really afford them. So I have the trust of a huge number of customers. It's more than 1.2 million in Vienna, for example, subscriptions, and I have to keep my promises towards them. So I put the most of the money in the next years in the modernization of the existing infrastructure. And beside that, I take the other one, that's also a huge amount, and make expansion there where it is necessary. So we have a principle in Vienna that we plan transit-oriented development. So if there is a new area of housing, a new city area or major urban developments, it's always in a very tight coordination between the planning departments, the construction, the zoning departments, and the public transport operators. That goes always hand in hand. And this is all what we are doing now. We are constructing the 6th metro line, and we built 3 more tram lines, and that it will be for the next years, because it's all about modernization.
Thank you, Alexandra. We were talking about how to respond to the rising demand, but also it's important to discuss about how to respond to the changing demand. So I want to ask here, Maria, actually, this question, because after COVID-19, we are seeing that the travel patterns, expectations are changing, especially with the deployment of more and more technology in the mobility. How is Carris adapting to these changing habits in Lisbon?
Yes, thank you, Ken. First, many thanks for the invitation to participate in this prestigious panel of speakers. Thank you very much. Yeah, actually, today it's not only the patterns, it's the type and lifestyle of people who use public transport. We see that most, or at least a big part of our customers, and you feel the same, I presume, have this always connected mindset. Making online information available is very critical for our business these days, because there are new expectations. Our customers are not so available to wait, isn't it? Actually, today we are less available to wait. We were used to wait for the bus and wait 10, 15 minutes, and we would know if it's coming or not. And today is not the same thing. We want to use all our time window, and our customers are not available to wait. So in terms of business models for mobility, we saw a huge evolution that tech made possible. We were, at least in Portugal, I don't know if it was the case for you, but we were more than 20 years trying to make shared services for mobility, and we were able to do that only when technology came to our hands through our smartphones. And after that, it was possible, and it's an infinite world of possibilities. So we as PTOs, and Carris is the public transport operator of the city of Lisbon. We operate buses and trams in the city of Lisbon. We are responsible for the above ground operation, and we face many challenges because we are living in this ecosystem, in this city ecosystem, influenced by anything that is going on in the city, including congestion, disruptions, construction works. So no matter how much we plan, we know that our operation will be influenced by external factors. So that's why improving our digital presence to our clients is so important for them. And how can we do that, and how Carris do that? I would summarize in 3 dimensions. One is accessibility, make transport more easily accessible. And for instance, we have implemented the contactless payments last year in the whole fleet, and it has been a huge success. In terms of infrastructure, small measures that make the life of our customers easier, such as USB sockets in buses and also the Wi-Fi connection in buses, for the customers to make better use of the time while they are not on board. So always we did this mindset of reducing the anxiety of our customers. And the last one, but not the least, because to me, and some people of my team is here, and they always know that I really stress, I'm looking to Luis, who is responsible for the displays in stops with real-time information of times. And they know that, to me, providing better, accurate information in bus and tram stops with real-time information, with the real-time location of buses and trams in stops, but also working with the app providers such as Google and other general mobility app providers. That is a way we have to continue to go on, and that's a summary of what we are doing to adapt to this new way of moving in the city.
I think it's great. You gave me a lot of segues to different topics in your 3 pillars, Maria. And one area that's becoming more and more paid attention by cities is walking and cycling now. And Jonida, you are putting a lot of efforts last years about putting more cycling infrastructure, walking infrastructure in Tirana. What happened in Tirana to do this transformation, to make it a more sustainable city?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much, Kaan, for having me here, and the panelists. It's an excellent panel, and I'm very happy to participate. My perspective is a little bit different, is the decision-maker perspective. different from my colleagues here, which are the product providers generally. So we have to take some decision, seeing the overall impact for the city, not only for one mode of transportation or one point of view, let's say. So for us, walking and cycling were from the very beginning political statements about how we wanted our city to be. People created the cities just to stay in communities and to interact with each other. And to go, the more people interact with each other, the more they share their spaces, the more they need the means to communicate. And one of them is moving from one place to another, going to work or to shopping or for leisure. And people use different means of moving, like we all know, walking, cycling, public transport or cars. And each of these transport modes have a role in the traffic and in the life of the city. So we have to treat with too much care each one of them, just to offer to our citizens a solution that gives not only the solution of transportation, but the lifestyle. We need to provide for them a healthy, a sustainable, and fair lifestyle, because this is about what we like to call street democracy. Everyone, despite his age, his income, or everything else, has to have the same fair share of the city and the public spaces of the city. By investing in safe sidewalks, in bike lanes, and in human-scale neighborhoods, we are giving to the people the city back. If the people take back the streets, they take back the city. Actually, and in Tirana, the facts show that 51% of the distance are made by walking, and only 25% by cars. And so we have to give the right of this 51% of the population to use decently and fairly and with dignity the space they need. We started everything with cleaning the public spaces, first with big spaces. The first investment, one of the first investments that of the first mandate of the mayor was the Skanderbeg Square. I don't know if the Skanderbeg Square of Tirana is the biggest square in the city, but actually in Albania. And it used to be about 40 kilometers square of roundabout, asphalt and cars, and now it is the biggest public space in Tirana where children can play freely and people can gather for any reason, mostly leisure. We continued with sidewalks and with bike lanes, of course, which were totally inexistent 10 years ago. But now we have 62 kilometers of bike lanes, and we are aiming to expand them in collaboration with the GIZ support under the plan that we have put in order together. We have some other projects because a way of doing it through education, behavioral changes. So we have launched 2 schools for kids for learning rules of safe cycling, but also of road traffic in general. We have 2 schools for very young kids and for a little bit more older kids. And we have also launched the Streets for School project, which is changing the infrastructure behind the schools to make the drop-offs and pickups of the children more safer and more comfortable, even for the children, even for the parents or caregivers. So I would say that this is what we are aiming, a city for people, not a city for cars. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jonida. You mentioned an interesting word called street democracy. And some people are claiming that a part of street democracy is charging private cars. So now I look to Andy on this one because it's the largest ultra-low emission zone is in London, and also congestion charging scheme is in London. And my question is that how are you getting riders on board to support you for these initiatives, Andy, in London?
Thank you, Kaan. Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to join colleagues this afternoon. So as you rightly say, London now has the largest clean air zone in the world. It was introduced in August 2023. It required absolute determined political mindset from our mayor, Sadiq Khan. And the overriding principle actually was not around reducing traffic and increasing income. It was around delivering the health benefits to our city. Congestion charging, first introduced to reduce congestion in inner London, been extremely successful. That was expanded to the low emission zone, which was to improve air quality, because the mayor has a very simple view, which I fully support, which is we do not accept dirty drinking water. So why do we accept dirty air to breathe? And when you look at the number of people in cities, particularly in London, who have chronic breathing conditions, they themselves need medical support. It is putting pressure on our health service. Transport is a key enabler to really make a difference. And the ultra-low emission zone has been really successful in doing that. We launched a huge consultation that everybody in London was able to participate in, which spelled out the benefits that we believe the zone would deliver. It allows anybody who has a vehicle that's built to the latest European standards to drive freely. So the only people who get charged are those who have vehicles that are non-compliant. When the scheme was announced, compliance was about 76%. Nearly 2 years on, we're now at 97% of vehicles being compliant. And we enabled that also by creating a scrappage scheme. So people could apply for funds to scrap their older vehicles and put it towards new ones. The same would apply to businesses and charities, and that was extremely successful. So it was the largest consultation Transport for London's ever undertaken. Huge amount of engagement, a lot of opposition, particularly political opposition for the mayor, who I have to say was unbelievable in terms of his steadfast position on this. And the benefits are really being delivered, particularly from an air quality perspective, where we've published the data to show the benefits. We wait as time progresses to see what benefits is happening to particularly the younger generation and the reduction in children with chronic respiratory issues and the support and the help that it's giving to the health service. And we have had a benefit in terms of it has reduced the amount of congestion in outer London, not significantly, but a small amount. And of course, it has brought additional revenue into Transport for London, which we then reinvest in the public transport network. But to be really clear, it was not done for money-making purposes. And our assumption is that income will reduce to zero over the next 2 to 3 years. So that was how we did it. And now, whilst it was a huge topic of conversation prior to introduction and post-introduction, actually now it's operating extremely well, and the vast majority of people are accepting of it.
Great leadership and commitment from the political level for such initiatives. And I know that such kind of initiatives or any major projects in transport, it needs very strong partnership. So there is important role in terms of the partnership between authorities, operators, and the private sector. And how do you see this partnership and its role in realizing your vision of freedom of mobility, Alexandra, in Vienna?
Freedom of mobility is a kind of a promise which we give not our passengers, but also our decision makers and our owners. And that means living and moving in the city without owning a private car. So we are professionals in terms of operating trams, buses, and underground and maybe trolley buses. And there is, on the other hand, a market which consists of professionals who know to operate and run shared services or DRT, for example. So to put that together, we decided not to do everything on our own, but to come or get into cooperations. We see ourselves, as I said, not just a public transport operator, but as an integrator, as a platform where all these different services are additive services to the classical modes. And such as, I said, car sharing and other flexible services, we work to integrate all these services, both physically and digitally, across the city. And this means strong cooperations on the same level with the private market. So as I said, we just coordinate them and we invite them, they have to do it, to offer their services under the trusted brand of Wiener Linien. This was one of the hardest things to negotiate with our partners as they all live. I can understand that, but with for their own brands. But now we have very good partnerships with very reliable partners of the private sector who are willing to do this under the well-known and very trust brand Wiener Linien, and they saw the advantages they have. Another aspect is the early involvement of the industry and our suppliers before entering a collaboration. We can only achieve our goals effectively and efficiently if we express openly and transparently our requirements and the impacts on both sides. And that has an impact or an implication on the cost side. So I want to give you one example, but it's only one. If we buy a vehicle, for example, a tram, we go into, this will be the future, into discussion with the manufacturers. And we hope that the manufacturer honestly sets out the exact ideas of a transport company in terms of their financial implications before the order is placed. Then the customer, for example, we as the operators can consider our wishes again, and that could perhaps lead, I'm convinced that this is the case, to more standardized products. And this, in turn helps not only the operators in getting better prices, but I would say also the industry in understanding what the customers need. It's also better, I would say, for their sales side.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alexandra. Since we talk about partnerships, also there is a big project now coming in Tirana that you are doing in partnership with the different international agencies, that you are building a BRT in Tirana, Jonida. Can you tell us some few insights about this BRT project coming in Tirana?
Yes, we can't wait to start implementing the BRT system in Tirana. We have been very happy to get the financing from this project for our dear and very good partners, which are Germans mostly. We have financing from KfW, but also have a grant from the WBIF funds from European Union to finance our new project. And of course, always the GIZ expertise for putting the plans on. We are going to implement this project firstly for our three main lines, public city lines, which actually are more than 50% of the total line of the city. And it's a specific project that includes dedicated bus lanes, and it's fully with electric buses. To what London has now gone in other levels, we are trying to start and to put it in place for the future, to go to the electric vehicle use as much as possible. And this is an initiative that has already started, actually. Nowadays in Tirana, most of the taxi fleet is by electric vehicles, and we are facilitating those who bring and licensing with much more facility those who bring electric vehicles. The BRT project we decided to, for our city, it will bring at least we need the double of the use from the customers with the BRT. With the BRT line, we aim to go from 9,000 to 20,000 passengers per hour. We aim to faster the time of the lines from 9 kilometers per hour to 20 kilometers per hour, and the BRT is expected to increase the average speed of the buses, and it will double the number of the users. So most of the city will go on public transport. If we increase the quality of the public transport, we expect the car use to drop and to have some good expectation even in environment perspective. Thanks to this new project, we are expecting to have faster, cleaner, and more attractive public transport.
Thank you so much. It's great that we are looking forward to see the BRT in Tirana, to have this opportunity to ride, because I am from Istanbul, and then our city has a great BRT system that's carrying 1 billion passengers per day. So it's great to see the BRT in Tirana running. And one very important aspect nowadays that we are discussing is using the technology and the data to adapt the supply of the public transport system, rechanging, readjusting the network of the public transport. And I know, Maria, you are working a lot on this in Lisbon. So what was achieved so far in terms of network restructuring based on the data and the technology?
Yes, definitely. With technology today, we have new ways of knowing better the behavior of our customers and the demand to meet the needs in terms of supply. Our aim is not to double, unfortunately, to double the demand, but that's a very good objective. Congratulations on that project. But we are starting redesign project of our network, of our bus and tram network. It's a whole redesign of the bus and tram network in the city of Lisbon. The aim is to adapt the network to the changes that are going to happen in the next few years in Lisbon, especially regarding the expansion of the metro network. And of course, we cannot miss the opportunity, as you said, to make an intelligent use of data. So we are working with a team of experts that use our demand data to know better. As you know, in buses and trams, we have an open system, so we know where a passenger enters in the system, but we still don't know where they exit the service. So it's demanding to use this data, but it's mandatory to adapt our network to make a better supply and a better service for our customers.
I think you are touching to the very great points, because also when we are, let's say, adjusting our services, one other element is that we need to regularly monitor our services. It's authorities that are operators, how to manage these relationships. I finished my bachelor's 21 years ago, and then my graduation thesis was focusing on bus franchise contracts. So 21 years ago. Now I want to ask this question to Andy. London is well known with the bus franchise contracts. And then now, after COVID-19, what we see is that most cities are having more and more interest in the gross cost contract model. And what could be your advices to these cities considering gross cost contract model based on your experience in London?
So our model has worked extremely well for us. We operate the largest bus fleet in Western Europe, 9,000 buses, 2,000 of which now are zero emission. And we wouldn't be able to do that without the fantastic partnership we have with our various bus operators. And it has transformed over the years, both the service levels, both in terms of performance, what customers expect, the fact that the bus is the primary mode of transport in London. People don't realise that. We carry 5.5 million passengers a day on London's bus network, and it is a critical service in areas that are not well served by the London Underground or National Rail. It's also the cheapest form of travel, so it's critical for the low-income workers and households to enable them to be mobile across the city. So what I would say is think about what it is you want to achieve as a city with your bus network. Our model is based on a route-by-route basis. Manchester have just gone to a geographic system. I think that is absolutely right for their model. We are looking at whether or not we should do that now going forward, because actually it creates some greater synergies for the bus operators, and particularly as we want to transition to a fully zero-emission bus fleet, we have to think about the infrastructure that's required, the depots that are required, and how to ensure we have vehicles that can manage the journeys within that. For me, it's around making sure you keep the model fresh, that you have an open and honest relationship and see your bus operators as strategic partners, how you work with them to procure both buses, vehicles, but also the infrastructure into their depots is really key. Any city that is considering it, we're a big supporter of it. It's been in place now for a number of years, delivered significant financial benefit to the city. It's resulted in an expansion of the services. It's a critical service, but we need to think about what the future holds now and how do we really make the bus something that people want to travel on. And we're trialling a number of things. So you may have heard of our Superloop Express bus network that now encircles the whole of London. Our bus network was originally designed to take people into the city and travel round the inner part of London. What we've learned since the pandemic is more people now want to connect in outer London, don't want to come into the city, and our network has been more point to point. We need it now to be more radial, so we're looking at how can we adapt that, provide more services, and how do we make sure we have the right commercial model to deliver that and really make sure that people choose the bus rather than choose the car.
I think it's a great model for sharing the risks between authorities and operators in a right way as well. And then my question goes to Jonida here. When you are planning the BRT, are you considering the performance-based cross-cost contract model with the operators in Tirana?
Yeah, we actually operate now with net cost contracts, which are everything is fixed in the contract with the bus operators, from the price to the number of the buses, frequencies, and everything. We are considering now to go, maybe we are going to stay to net cost contract or going to gross cost contracts. But of course, we are considering performance-based contracts, but we have to have the necessary tools for it. We have to have the necessary system to put the rules. We have to have the necessary system to control the bus operators. We are, along with our collaborators here, GIZ and KfW, asking for solutions. One of the reasons we are here in the summit is to find these solutions, to have our data, to have all our data and to have them in that way to make our decisions easier. So this is in our consideration, and we hope to go there with the new system of BRT and the new systems of controlling the data.
Thank you, Jonida. My remaining questions are focusing on the technology. I think we cannot end this panel without talking on the technology. And then Vienna is known for its, let's say, people-centered approach to the technology in public transport, Alexandra. But how are you ensuring that digital tools enhance rather than complicate the passenger journey in Vienna?
Thank you for this last question, and come back to the people. As Mohammed always say, we are moving people and not vehicles. And as service providers, we have to talk about the customers and we have to put them in the center of all our efforts. I can give you some examples among a lot, how we approach or are addressing the customers, because we don't want to talk about them, we want to talk with the customers. And we started a few years ago with a kind of a PT think tank where we meet the passengers, sometimes in various or different target groups, physically, but also digitally, to explain, for example, ideas, to talk about the strategy, to talk about the vision, to talk about current projects or what we have in mind. For example, the last was in terms of how can a bus stop or a station look like? What are the customer needs? How would they create that if they would be in this position? And they are very, very beloved, I must say. We have a lot of participants and a waiting list. So I think this ensures that tools and services and products are designed in alignment with their needs. Another example are our annual exhibitions and our public transport customer parties, organized really as a festival, as a very big festival for everyone in the city center, where we bring the people or the staff of Wiener Linien from behind the scenes together with the passengers to promote mutual understanding. And this event is becoming increasingly popular and attracts around 20,000 visitors every year in September. And this year in September, there will be a boost because we combine it with the first Tram World Championship. And this is also to show the abilities and the skills. Yeah, I invite everybody to attend and to watch what our tram drivers, for example, are able to do and to deliver. And talking about listening and improving, we for sure have a customer service management, and this team is continuously monitoring and improving the passenger journey. So they do it with regular surveys, with data analysis and direct feedback, so we can ensure that, as I said, the tools are constantly user-friendly, responsive, helpful, and what you said in your question, also simple. This is also a question about what must or should an application, and I'm sure every operator offers an application, a digital tool for the customers, what should they serve? And I think we are in danger at the moment to just overload applications. So we just stop to deepen integrate every additive service we offer, because actually people want an app to watch, to look for their routes, to get information on the trip about interruptions and interferences, and they want to buy a ticket.
Thank you, Alexandra. It's especially the last point is very interesting that we can have a discussion. And link with this one, my question goes to Andy here. Andy, as TfL, you are using a lot of open data to really enhance the customer experience. How is AI shaping your ability to manage your operations in TfL in London?
It's a huge subject for us. And actually, one of the key things we've got to do is try and put our arms around it a bit, because the danger is we try and do everything and achieve nothing. So for us, it's around prioritizing it. We have created a team who are responsible for what our AI strategy should be. We're undertaking some trials. We're already deploying it in our customer contact centers so we can improve our response times for customer service inquiries, customer complaints, that sort of thing, where we're seeing a real benefit already in terms of response times improving. And we're really looking at learning from some other transport operators, Singapore, for example, and ourselves, where we've done some trials for using AI to help with safety improvements, particularly around the risks around things like platform train interface, the risk of people accessing the track either deliberately or accidentally, so that we can create an automatic process for people to respond in a far quicker way to prevent anybody being injured or tragically killed. So it's prioritizing that in particular. And then, of course, we have some very clever data scientists who do all sorts of amazing things around using AI to help us with modeling around where our transport needs are. But for me, it's around making sure we're focused, targeted, do some quick trials, fail fast if we need to, succeed quickly, and make sure that we then can make the benefits and see how they can be applied across the organization.
Thank you, Andy. Maybe for this subject, before we conclude the panel, the last question, Maria. I know that you are using AI for bus lane enforcement. What are the initial results on this one, especially from the average commercial speed of your buses in Lisbon?
Yes, I totally identify with what Andy said here. Our approach is in a different scale, of course, but is exactly this one, very target focused in what are the main problems that we have to solve. So we are not adapting AI just because it's modern or because everyone speaks about it, but we are focusing specific AI tools that we are starting to use in solving our specific problems. And one is related to what you said, Kaan, street enforcement, because over the last 4 years after the pandemic period, we have been experiencing a reduction in our commercial speed, which concerns us very much. For instance, last year we have faced around 1,000 hours of interruptions in our operations caused by illegal parking in bus stops or on the tram routes. This means around 40 complete days, so that's something that concerns us. And because of that, we are starting different measures, and we are in coordination with the city of Lisbon, which owns us, many different measures to change this behavior. But one is using AI, which is the street enforcement and the bus lane enforcement using cameras in the front, installed in the front of the buses to detect bus lane invaders and the illegal use of bus lanes by cars, and also illegal parking in bus stops. We are just starting these pilot projects, so we still don't have results to show, but we have a big expectation in this, especially in terms of an educational approach. Even if we don't have cameras installed in every buses, the car users will know that we are using it and we are making enforcement with it. So we hope to have this education approach to respect of the priority space that is given for the public transport.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maria. Actually, what I believe is that maybe one of the most important KPIs for the bus operators is certainly average commercial speed. And I guess one of the most important KPI for panels is stopping on time, starting and stopping on time. So that's what I can be telling. I know that I am now around a half minute late than our closing time, and it's a good sign for us. And I want to thank all our speakers, and with a round of applause from our participants. We have discussed a lot of topics. We talk about the congestion charging, low emission zones, BRT systems, contracting frameworks, passenger experience, technology. Thank you so much. It was great to have you with us. Thank you for listening to Mobility Redefined, brought to you by Modaxo. For more insights, visit our website at mobilityredefined.com or follow us on LinkedIn. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite app to stay updated with our latest episodes. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed the conversation.